Welcome back everyone, and I'm doing another casual manga haul, primarily because I really want to organize my shelf, and I've just had these stacked on my dresser for the longest time, so I'm just going to go ahead and film it. I have quite the sizable stack because some of this is from Half Price Books, typical, and then I have another stack from somewhere else. So I'll get started with the Half Price Books haul. So, Half Price Books did have a sale recently, 20% off all used items that included anime, printed books, graphic novels, all that stuff. So I did find quite a bit of stuff going through the different locations in my area. The first was actually found by a friend. She found volume 2 of Vampire Kisses. We actually found this while in Houston, but it was in a different language. So very happy to have volume 2. I'm just looking for volume 1. I'm almost somewhat regretting getting these from Half Price Books because I think volume 1 is the hardest to find. They're each $5. This was obviously cheaper with the discount. But there is a listing on eBay for $20 for all three, and I think that's a pretty good deal. They're all in great condition. This one has a crease on the top right of the cover, so I think it would have benefited me and been a lot less work to just get the one on eBay. But, you know, they're good for memory, so for right now I'm going to keep them. And if I feel like returning them, I can still do that for store credit. And with how often I'm buying from Half Price Books, I think that wouldn't be too bad. But happy to have this, especially since this is one of the volumes that has the process sketches on the back, which is what I really liked about this series. So there's that. And then I just was kind of looking for stuff to read. And one of the Half Price Books closer to where I work had School Zone Girls. They had a lot of Yuri or Girls Love manga compared to when I had gone, because I had gone to this location twice. The previous day I didn't really find much girl stuff, but the second day I found a bunch, so I don't know if someone just turned in their collection. But this sounded cute, and, you know, with the discount I was willing to give it a shot. The art was cute. I also found this one, Still Sick, which sounds like an office romance. Again, the art was cute. I was willing to try it. So got those two since they had both volumes. And I was really excited about this. I found volume 3 of this manga while in Houston, and I didn't get it. I took a picture so I could remember to look for it, but I didn't want to start off with volume 3 and then have to look for volume 1 and 2 for who knows how long. This one was a little more expensive, $6, but it makes sense with the larger size. But the art in this is phenomenal. I think this is a manga because it's left to right, but it's got colored pages. I mean, look at that. And the artwork, again, looks really cool. And I did read the summary in the back. I think it's a fighting manga about a tournament, and you can kind of tell with the cover. But yeah, I think this is a manga. It is by Viz, by Haruhisa Nakata. The other two are by Akashi, and this is obviously Tokyo Pop. Oh, they don't have the love symbol on this one. So maybe that is just for the mature stuff. And then School Zone Girls was by an artist called Ningiayo, 7 Seas, and then Tokyo Pop obviously did Vampire Kisses. Okay, for this stack, I did find volumes 8 and 10 of Yotsubato in Japanese at one of the locations. I was quite excited, a little sad that they weren't volume 1 and some of the ones I'm missing, but I figured it would still be beneficial to read these and see if the language is still simple enough for me to read once I get a little better at Japanese. So I did pick up those, especially since the Japanese novels or manga are usually cheap, since, you know, not a lot of people are going to purchase them. Then I also found some yaoi or BL manga. This is Manner of Death, and this just looks like a mafia organized crime kind of thing, or detective, I guess. But obviously was going to give it a try, and the art looked really good, so excited. Hopefully I didn't flip through anything that's inappropriate. This, again, I purchased mainly for the art, and the story sounded interesting, called My Dear Agent. I think this is about a pop star, or... oh no, this is an office romance as well. Again, art looked really cute. And the fact that they had 2 volumes was really nice. I mean, look how thick these are. So hopefully that'll entertain me for a minute. I think these were both by Yen Press. Oh no, this is Tokyo Pop. I'm dumb. I didn't even notice their symbol on the side. Because usually they have the thing going all the way down, but they use the art to cover some of that. That's kind of cool. Cool looking. Then I found Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun Volume 0. This is the pilot manga, I believe. The one-shot that inspired the full series. Jujutsu Kaisen has something like this too, and so do other manga series that get really popular. And I like to have them just to see how the artist has progressed. So it's basically like a prequel. So I was happy to see that and decided to pick it up. And then this is also by Yen Press. Toilet Bound isn't BL. It just got stuck in the middle of that stack. This one is, though, Entangled with You, The Garden of 100 Grasses by Aki Aoi. This is Seven Seas Entertainment. And I remember looking at this one and considering buying it on Right Stuff / Crunchyroll's website. It's not explicit or anything. I think it's rated like 13 and up. Yeah, teens. Oh, 15 and up. Why? There's nothing in it. Maybe because of the subject matter. I think it's about this guy who gets banished to the forest and has to deal with this monster. And then they fall in love or something. But I just thought the cover was very interesting. I mean, look at all those colors. It kind of looks like it's collaged together. Very interesting. So I picked it up just to see. If it's a sweet story, it's a sweet story. And that's the stack from Half Price Books. Overall, I was very happy with what I had found. Obviously wasn't a lot. I had to go after work, so a lot of the probably better stuff was picked over. The locations I went to were quite busy, so but still happy I found some stuff during the sale. Next, I also bought, or pre-ordered this actually, when it went up on Crunchyroll's store. Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-Kun, the IruMafia edition. I was reading this online, and I still am. I absolutely love this side story. It's like an AU, basically, if you know that term, but that's an alternate universe where all the characters, instead of their original setting, are part of the mafia in this setting. I love stuff like this. It's so funny, and it's so fun to see characters in kind of similar roles as they usually are, but usually with different personalities, or just seeing their personality thrown into a different setting is just usually very hilarious. But what's great about this one is that the artist they chose, Hiroha, has such a great style, and I love it. I mean, look at this. Let me find the page where Iruma's a child. He's so cute. Look at him. So cute. And based on what I've read, I am caught up on the manga. The story is really good, and I love how it parallels the original storyline of the manga. They're taking certain things about it, not everything. So certain characters do show up while others don't. Certain characters show up a little earlier than in the original manga for storyline purposes, but I love what they're doing with it. So happy to finally have this. I thought it was lost to my order page because I had honestly forgotten about it until I was looking through everything that I had purchased and realized it hadn't shipped despite it being available on Amazon. So very happy to have this. Definitely going to get volume 2 as well. All right, so that is stuff I purchased for the most part full price. This next stack, I think I paid, what would this have been? Like $4, if you can believe it. So I'm very involved with the library system in my town, or in my area, I should say. I used to work for the bookstore that the library system has here, and the bookstore sells stuff for insanely cheap. It's open to donations from the public, just like Half Price Books. Unfortunately, this store is about to be shut down due to budget constraints. I still volunteer with them every now and again, so I was allowed to go to the back of the store and kind of look through and help my friend who does work for them pick through some of the stuff they still have in the back for the different branches in the library system. So they're basically going to distribute all the stuff that they still have to the other libraries and sell them there. But I was able to go through some of the stuff they had and pick out things I wanted to buy, which was really exciting because they do receive like brand new manga and books from publishers and things like that. So all of this is brand new, and I only paid 50 cents for each. So let's go through what I got. I was very lenient because obviously it's super cheap. I mean, I'm not going to pass up 50-cent manga. First is The Country Without Humans. This is by Iwatobineko, and this is published by Seven Seas. And again, it's exactly as the title says. There's only one human left in a post-apocalyptic world run by machines. And yeah, I'm sure there's a deeper story that's going to unfold. I love stuff like this. Very interesting usually. The art style is cute too. And I do love the stories that involve a child having a found family with some kind of like sentient but non-feeling creature thing. I loved Somalian, the forest spirit, similar story archetype. So I got that. I found a BL series, 4th Generation Head Tatsuyuki Oyamato by Scarlett Berico as the artist, and this is by Sublime Manga. So this just seems like a unintentionally fall in love with you type of story from, is he in the Mafia? Yeah, Yakuza Air. Hopefully I don't flip through something that's inappropriate. But yeah, cool colored pages, a little raunchy, but you know, it sounded cute. This type of, you know, personality is always fun whenever they unintentionally fall in love with someone. And next I have Blade of the Moon Princess by Tatsuya Endo. I love the art in this. This is by Viz, and it's a Shonen Jump series. But yeah, flipping through it, it looked really cool, super fun, lots of action. This is something I feel like may get an anime in the future, if it doesn't have one in the works already. But look at that. I love the style of this. This one was so funny. I don't know if I can flip through it because we flipped through it in the store, my friend and I. This is called Kinryo Rock, Moonage Dream by Bingo Morihashi. Published by Alien Books, which I'd never really seen before. It's about vampires living in a modern world where everyone knows they exist. It seemed very interesting. It's also volume 0, so I don't know if this is a prequel to an existing manga or things like that. But when I flipped through it in the store, it just looked cool. The art was cool. So that's primarily why I got it. But when I flipped through it at home, the very first page is in color and there's people having sex. So I don't know how I missed that while I was going through the store. But the art was still cool. The plot seemed interesting. So I'm still happy I got it, especially for that price. Then I think these are webtoons. Oh, there's one more manga. I'll go through the manga first and then we'll get to the webtoons. This is Choujin X by Sui Ishida, published by Viz. Again, I actually don't know what this is about. I just got it for the art. It sounds like a turn superhero type of thing, where they're attacked one day and turn or gain abilities somehow from this attack. Tokyo Ghoul S vibes. That's what it sounds like. But again, the cover was very interesting. It sounded interesting plot-wise, and the art was cool. So 50 cents, you can't go wrong. Then I bought Tokyo Fear's Rhapsody. This one just looked really cool, and the title sounds really interesting. Again, monster manga by Akira Tsugito, of his title. And as always, love the art. It kind of reminded me as well of Kaiji number 8. I don't know if it's the same artist. I'd have to look. I do have a couple volumes from that one. But yeah, love a good monster. And I love the design of this guy. Look at him. And then finally, I have Unholy Blood, volumes 1 and 2. My friend said she actually started reading this, and it didn't seem to catch her interest, but since they had 2 volumes of it, I mean, 50 cents, why not? But the art looked really nice. Look at this. And the books themselves are they have thick covers, and they have this embossing on the front that's really cool. Ize Press. I've never heard of that. And the author is Lena Lim. I did read through the summary of this, and I can't remember what it was about. Oh, it's another vampire one. Oh, yes, now I remember, because my friend and I were in the store going through a lot of the novels too, and there was so much vampire content. We were looking at each other like, are vampires making a comeback? Because this is a lot of vampire stuff, which we are fans of, so we were pretty happy about it. But it was just interesting. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. It seemed interesting, and the art style is cool. And if I don't like it, I mean, I'll be able to get my money back, no problem. So, very happy about that purchase. And that is it. That is all I have for the manga. Quite the nice stacks. Again, 50 cents each. You can't go wrong. I was going to do a separate haul for the anime, but I don't have a ton, so I'm just going to go through it. There is stuff on the way, so I'll probably start this review once that arrives as well, after going through this. So during the sale, I was looking for some specific stuff. So I got all these three from Half Price Books. I got Hellsing, the original. $17.49 is not the best price, especially with the condition. I almost told my friend to maybe I should return it. But it's fine because the discs are in fairly decent condition. Because I think you can get this for $16 online. Also, the discs were like super yellowed, so I was like, But yeah, it's the original VA, which I know Hellsing fans are not the biggest fans of, but I remember really liking it. It was one of the first anime I watched, so I wanted it for nostalgia purposes. And it was part of the sale, so I did get it a little cheaper than $17.49. And then when I went, I did find Hellsing Ultimate, which I was really happy about. $34.99 is kind of steep, but I didn't realize this was $50 on Amazon. Plus, with the discount, it came out to a bit, like, over $25, so good deal, I think. And the discs were in perfect condition, so very happy about that. I think the only thing was the case was a little bit broken, but I can find that a replacement pretty easily, I feel like. It's not a big deal. I also found Sankarea Undying Love. This is a series I was considering purchasing for the longest time, and then I just never did. I think it's still being published by Sentai, and every now and again they have really good sales, but I don't recall ever seeing this one in particular go on sale for a good price. So for $15 plus the discount, I was willing. I'm not realizing I bought vampire stuff in anime as well. But Sankarea is a zombie story of a girl who dies and somehow revives. And then this boy finds her and they kind of start to fall in love with each other. But obviously they have to deal with the fact that she is pretty much a zombie at this point. It's very short. I think only 12 episodes. I don't know if the manga was any longer, but it was interesting from what I remember when I watched it. This one I actually forgot to include in my previous anime haul. This is the Case Closed double feature, The Time Bomb Skyscraper, and The 14th Target. I was pretty excited about this because the Case Closed movies, compared to the series themselves, like season 1 through 6 or 5, whatever it is, the movies are much harder to find. I guess people just didn't buy them as often as the series. And I really like the movies. I think we have 2 of them, but they don't have cases. We were trying to downsize at the time and put them in one of those CD holders. Terrible idea. But I was very happy to find this for $2 on Mercari. It seemed like the seller was trying to offload a lot of media, and this popped up on my search because I saved the searches on Mercari. So when I saw $2, I immediately checked out. And thankfully they honored it. So super happy to have gotten this for such an amazing price. Because one of those movies alone, I think, is $50 minimum. And then finally, this arrived not too long ago, Pumpkin Scissors, the complete series. I'm not too happy about the condition of the case because it seemed a lot less banged up in the listing, but it's fine. The discs are in perfect condition, and I'm happy to finally have this, especially since they accepted a discounted price when I made an offer. This is a series about a kind of alternate reality that's kind of World War I or II-esque. I don't think this is set in our time because there was like a royalty thing involved as well that she's the princess of. I don't remember if that's a spoiler or not, but I really remember enjoying this series. The music was great. I love this guy so much. Genuinely had a crush on him after watching this. But yeah, this series is pretty easy to find right now, but I'm sure it's going to go out of print soon. So if you're looking for this, definitely start picking it up when you can. And I'm happy to not have the save version, which is the most common version you can find. I actually really like these old school, like book cover kind of things, releases. So if I can, I try to get those. But happy to have this finally in my collection. I'm going to stop linking it just because it takes a long time, but I will list everything that I have here so that you guys can check it out yourselves and see where you can find it for a good price. It's been a couple days. My anime has arrived in the mail. I am so excited to finally own this. This is Now and Then, Here and There, the complete collection. I really wanted the collector's box set because I think there's an extra disc in it that includes... Oh, actually, this includes it as well. I don't know if it's the same stuff, but I was able to get this at an auction on eBay for $30, which I think is a steal since this particular version goes for pretty expensive prices on eBay. And then the collector's box set, I think the minimum I see it at for is $60. So I think I got a pretty good deal. One downside is the case is broken, so I may have to go to a thrift store somewhere and see if I can find a case that has, or it can hold 3 discs. It had these little things protruding from the spine that broke off. They were already broken when I got it. I was able to shake the case when I got it, and I could hear it moving around, but here's what the discs look like. They're in great condition. Super happy to finally own this anime. I've only seen it once. I remember watching it when I was a teenager, and it's pretty obscure, but I think back then it was quite known. Has very good reviews, so I'm glad that I remember enjoying it. I do remember it being very depressing, though. There's a summary on the back, but yeah, I more or less remember it somewhat correctly. It was a post-apocalyptic world run by large beings, and there's a lot of slaves, and it was very depressing from what I remember, but I very much enjoyed it. It really stuck with me, and I'm really happy to have this because it is it dubbed? Yeah, I think I watched the Japanese when I was younger, but I'm excited to watch this in English, so happy to finally have this. This is very much very vintage anime, and I know a lot of people probably don't know about it, so happy to add that to my collection. Alright, this was a very tough shot to get, but here's everything that I purchased recently. Manga and anime together. Some stuff is stacked on top of each other because I couldn't really fit all of it completely in the thumbnail, but very happy with everything that I purchased. Very excited to add some things to my collection. And I'm actually looking forward to organizing this on my shelf. I did make a new riser. I'll show a little clip of that at the end, just to show y'all how I make them for my shelves. And I can finally add them to the shelves in an organized way, and I'll just make my way through all of these books. And hopefully I enjoy all of them, and if not, they will be going on my Mercari. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series of recent hauls. It is a lot. I will be holding back from now on, not going to take any abrupt half-price books trips, at least too soon. I am still looking for stuff, but I'll just hold off on that until I find a good price for it. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. I had intended to film the process of me building this and then completely forgot until after I had pretty much already assembled it, but this is what they look like. The height can be adjusted. I more or less use some of the Daiso book risers as a reference for the height. These things, so I use the same height for it. But basically, you can get some basic foam board from Craft Store, Walmart. I got one of those trifold foam boards from Walmart in black. That way I didn't have to paint it or anything. I measured out the length of this bookshelf plus the height that I needed, so I could make 2 pieces for this side, and then the sides obviously, and then the top. This bookshelf was a little bit weird. You can't tell right now, but there's like I don't know what to call it other than like a beam of wood that goes straight down the middle of this bookshelf, which means these books do not sit completely flush. I can push some of them further back than others. And because of that, I was going to make 2 of these and then a smaller one in the middle to accommodate that. But there is a cable hole back here with a cover that does not sit flush against the bookshelf, which means unfortunately, even if I were to do that, some of these books would still not sit completely leveled. So I just went ahead and did the long one. So as you can see, it fits pretty flush. There's really no leeway Let me see if I can push these books out of the way very carefully without dropping a bunch of stuff. Just so I can show you what the underside looks like. In total, this can be about a 5-piece project. So one for each side, one for the top, and then obviously the sides. One thing you may want to consider depending on the strength of your foam board, this one was actually pretty sturdy. In the past, though, I've used the cheaper kind, which meant that the weight of the books did bow the center, so I did have to put these little support structures, which again, you can just use the same measurement for the side pieces to insert in the center as well, and you just spread them out long enough to where if you have heavy books, they're not really going to bow in a specific spot. This isn't the most evenly distributed, but it didn't matter. So long as there's some support throughout the center, it's fine. As you can see, I did hot glue it, and then again, just so they looked a little neater, I got some black duct tape to cover over the sides and give them a little bit more structure. It does make it a little bit awkward in the top part if you don't completely cover it with duct tape, because as you slide books back, they may get stuck on this. But if you're just aware that that's there, then just, you know, be mindful when you slide books in that you're lifting them a little bit just so they go all the way in without any issue. But yeah, these are very useful to me. I have been making them for years, and before I stumbled across the little Daiso ones, this is more or less what I've been doing to accommodate my growing manga collection. They're very easy to make. They can be very cheap. I know poster board has gotten quite expensive recently. I remember you can go into Walmart and get like $1 foam board, and now last time I went it was $3, so I opted to just buy the slightly more expensive version that was sturdier. Also because I wasn't sure how many of these I was going to make. I had considered making some for my non-anime DVD shelf, and then again with wanting to make 2 of them to accommodate this random piece of wood in the back, I wanted the extra foam board just, you know, to be able to make mistakes, but I didn't really need it in the end. This was very easy to do. It took me, I think, no more than an hour to make. I'll put a little diagram in the description or on the screen somewhere if y'all are interested in making this.